right, KTM SMC 690, a bike I've always wanted to ride. And so this bike is definitely very tall. It's based off of their 690 platform. Oh no. It's based off of their 690 platform. Enduro. Definitely sounds amazing. And what's really cool about this bike is they're so light and easy to throw around that with the right rider on this thing, I personally have seen a set of 701 taillights disappear into a corner. And I understand now why after riding this bike is it's because it's super light, it's flickable, and it's got a lot of torque. It's also got good brakes, good suspension, pretty much everything you need to show a bigger bike some taillights. Around the corner, getting on the highway, no issues. I feel no sense of danger here on the highway, which a lot of people are jealous of, I'm sure, coming off of their Supermotos, their DRZs. Yeah, this is not your uncle's dual sport. No sir. I've personally seen somebody on this bike, not this one but these bikes, do a 12 o'clock wheelie at about 80 miles an hour. If you know that a DRZ will never do that. This bike is a lot like a DRZ but on steroids. In fact, it's like a DRZ went back in time and pumped itself with testosterone until it couldn't see its feet anymore over its own pectoral muscles. Night and day difference between something like a Suzuki. Sounds mean. Definitely sounds like I could go and back this thing in on a small kart track somewhere and get a couple sponsors. Yes, this thing stops well, ease into the corner, a little bit too early. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah, this bike is a lot of fun, and the brakes are excellent. Again, the throttle's there, it's light. This bike has about 100 pounds on the average 600, 750. So that kind of gives you some perspective about how light this bike really is. My buddy, he has one of these, and he is actually a hill climb racer, and so he is very, very fast. And I've never been smoked like I have been before, like I have been in that ride right there. And he was on a 701, the one I was talking about earlier. His was all modded out and things like that. But again, just giving you guys some perspective what this bike can really do. In the right hands, this bike is a weapon. This bike is an absolute weapon. It'll hurt the feelings of 1000s, 600s, 400s. It kind of has the weight of a 400, but the torque of maybe something like an MT-07. A little bit more torque than MT-07. This thing is just absolutely filthy, and it sounds crazy. Yeah, she's upset. I can tell. This thing moves, man. Man, this doesn't stop. bumps. I mean, it's no cruiser, but it's definitely got the suspension travel to support some bigger bumps. What's up, man? He's not looking over because he has no idea what this thing will do to his 400. Yeah, which brings up a good point. This is, oh no, now I look foolish. Which brings up a good point. This is definitely a big sleeper. This is something that you pull up on, your buddies kind of scoff at until this thing gets into a corner. This thing is an absolute weapon on the track day, kart track, even just around the town, goofing off. Yeah, this thing is so torquey. You know, there's a lot of rumors and everything going around. I'm not even sure if they're rumors anymore, but KTM is rumored to be going bankrupt. And, you know, so that honestly has, I've noticed, keeps some people away from these bikes. Now, I will say this. If there is a single bike that I will make a financial mistake for, it's the Super Duke or this bike right here and an S1000 RSV4. But if there's a single bike, there's a couple different bikes from KTM that I would make a big financial mistake for. You know, getting a bike that the company fails, there's no parts for it. If there's a single bike that I would put up with that kind of lack of support, that kind of headache, it would be either the Super Duke or the 690 SMC. Every other KTM, I'd probably just get a different bike. I love the idea of the 990. I haven't ridden one, so I can't speak too much. I'm sure someone out there is going to tell me the Scalpel is worth it. But man, I just can't imagine that bike being as light as this bike, right? I mean, it's not. So there's just bikes out there that can compete with the 990, 890. There's bikes out there that can compete with the 790, with the 1290 Super Duke, GT. You know, there's a lot of sport touring bikes out there. There's a lot of adventure bikes, but there's just nothing quite like this bike. And the Super Duke even has bikes that are sort of its competitor. But I'd like you to find a bike that is as well fit, as well set up, and as powerful and light as this 690. You can. The closest thing you can really get to is a Honda XR, you know, XR 650R. Okay, but that bike has nowhere near the kind of precision that this bike has. You know, even though that is the race version of the XR, it's older. I'm sorry, but this has more modern technology. This has more modern suspension, brakes, everything. This bike is a one of a kind, and it's a shame that KTM might be going out of business before they can give the blueprints or the torch over to somebody else, because this style of bike needs to stay alive. And if there's a bike that you're gonna make an exception for, you know, I believe it should be the 690. This bike is incredible, and I would buy it from even if I know that the company is dying and will not be bought out, I would want this bike right here, just for the small fleeting chance at it happening and staying long term. This bike is incredible. Come check it out.